ヤギ様から盗み取った北斗神拳、北斗を味合わせてやるわ。
Hey, what's up everybody, welcome to the video. Today we're looking into Avenging Crusader after a viewer of mine requested on one of my YouTube videos that I should try to theorycraft a build using this dead and forgotten talent, and that's exactly what we did. We tried it out with Kyrian, with Necrolord in 2 keys. We switched some mats, some talents to make it stronger and play to its strength so we could really see the impact of this talent, and this is basically what happened. I do not recommend you using this talent seriously. This is just an experiment. It's actually not good whatsoever, but it has its places and we can try and use it for fun, so this is what happened. Okay, so we're gonna be switching over from playing the usual build for Mythic Plus would be to be playing this, but instead we're gonna be doing something unthinkable and actually playing this. I don't think I'm gonna be doing much of any other changes here. I think you cannot really benefit from Glimmer, especially here. You're not really doing anything different with Holy Shock, so Glimmer is just as bad. Beacon of Virtue is just the same deal. When it comes to this row, obviously gonna be picking Avenging Crusader here. The rest of the row is pretty much same thing. You don't really get anything different because of playing Avenging Crusader, because on the first row, second row, same thing. And when it comes to Divine Purpose, of course, you're not going to be benefiting from Awakening, so the value of the RNG slot machine of the spec is a little bit lower. I don't think we need Holy Avenger. I don't think we need to make up for the lack of wings that badly that we need Holy Avenger, but that might be the most normal swap. Also, if we manage to get wings down to 1 minute cooldown from the 4 set, maybe Seraphine would be a pretty good choice, because we could always line up Seraphine with Avenging Crusader, so we can just buff up the damage even more. Now I do think that our overall damage in any dungeon is gonna be lower by playing this build than if we were just playing normal wings, because we're not buffing Consecration, we're not buffing any other spells other than Judgment, Crusader Strike, and Auto Attack, and even those spells are only getting a 10% damage buff more than if we were just playing normal wings. And yeah, you're losing the damage from buffing Consecration, buffing Necrolord Hammer, buffing your healing, buffing Shield of the Righteous. It's just gonna be dripping damage everywhere, all over the place. So I used the thing, and I immediately realized that using Hammer of Wrath within this buff is not gonna be the greatest thing, because it's not buffed and it doesn't count for the healing. Also, what happens if I Judgment an Explosive? Is the damage gonna be wasted from the Avenging Crusader talent? I don't think so, right? You do the full damage to the explosive. But the idea is that instead of having normal wings, every time that I pop wings, what I'm really doing is buffing my Judgment, my auto attacks, and my Crusader Strikes for a little bit. Also, I forgot I had a Necro Hammer. So during the whole time that wings are up, we're just really healing other people through our melee damage and our Judgment damage and our Crusader Strikes. It's just such a weird way of approaching this. Honestly, I'm thinking that I should be using a Hammer of Wrath a lot more for the sake of damage, but I'm encouraged to use Judgment instead because of the... oh, we pulled that. Yeah, I'm encouraged to use Judgment because of the way the Avenging Crusader works, and it's just not adding up in my head. But what it does is it also increases the cooldown recovery rate for those 2 spells. So you have just like so many more Judgments and Crusader Strikes than you would usually have. But you of course also have a Hammer of Wrath. It just doesn't add up with the... come on. It just doesn't add up whatsoever with playing Vanguard's momentum, I feel like. But yeah, what I should really be doing here is just like... that guy is just getting casted on full time. I should just like be ignoring the Hammers of Wrath and actually trying to use my Crusader Strikes and my Judgments for healing through the wings, but I'm also ignoring the Necro Hammers, so it just doesn't make any sense. Okay, now we use the thing. I'm just struggling to find GCDs for everything. We also pop Lust. Like, can I even see the amount of healing I'm doing through Avenging Crusader? I don't know how that works. It doesn't really feel like that impactful, honestly. I just have so many things that I could be doing right now. So many spells that are ready. Everything's just feeling wrong playing with this talent right now. the way I'm focusing too much on spells that are not even getting the buff from wings. Because it's usually what you would do. You would think that every spell is buffed, so you stick to your normal spell priority. But yeah, I'm not playing to the strengths of Vanguard's momentum whatsoever. That legendary is not getting any benefit right now. Doing this test during Explosive Week is not exactly a fair thing as well. Like, I have to focus a lot on those instead of what I would normally be doing. Yeah, like, that's what I would do. I would pop wings and I would throw Hammers of Wrath. But with this thing, you're encouraged to instead throw Judgments. And look at the healing. When I use a Crusader Strike, it doesn't do that much. Like, it barely does like 5k or something like that. Maybe like 7. Yep. We just have an Explosive go through. We didn't CC any of the mages. They just keep casting. Oh my god, that's a lot of explosives. Yeah, this is over. Unfortunately, what a bit of a shit show. I didn't like this setup though, so I think I'll just try and go. What should I try and pick? Like, this is such an annoying talent to play with. Just trying to think what would make it feel better. Probably just for like the sake of focusing on it, playing Seraphine. Not playing Necrolord, playing a Kyrian. Anyways, let's go with Kyrian and let's go with Seraphine. It's a full-on balls-to-the-wall Avenging Crusader. That's really all we care about. See how much healing can we get out of it. The damage is mainly just holy shot because of Divine Toll. So the fact we're playing Avenging Crusader is not really gonna mean that much more damage onto our Judgment and Crusader Strikes. In fact, it just looks so sad. Look at that. Average Judgment is still only 5k. Also, we don't naturally proc our Chooset that often because we're not using Vine Crusader's Hammer, so we're just gonna have you know, times where we do not really press Word of Glory for a while. Didn't play that too clean. Also no potion, but 12k is... It's not bad, but it's not great. Yeah, lining up the cooldown with between Divine Toll and Avenging Crusader is not ideal. I mean, the Forset can help you line it up, so you can have it whenever you want to, but in the middle of the action, you might just have the situation where you go for a Seraphine Divine Toll, and then you just don't have Avenging Crusader. Also, both things at once might just be overkill. It's so weird thinking about Judgment. That's the thing that you should be pressing though. Just in my head, Judgment always comes second to many things in Mythic Plus. And like having to think about it as like my let's heal button, like actually heal button, whenever the buff is active is just so weird. Yeah, so I can never experience playing this talent as like a player that's got less hours into the spec, because I'm just so biased to the muscle memory that I've built. Well, this feels terrible going for Divine Toll here offensively, but so far it just feels absolutely horrible playing Avenging Crusader. Even Kyrian still doesn't feel great. Just the way you're kind of supposed to ignore Hammer of Wrath. Like, you're not supposed to ignore it, but it doesn't play to the strengths of Avenging Crusader. Like, you can't really think about Judgment and Crusader Strike as if they were cooldowns, but you kind of need them a lot. Because that's the strength of Avenging Crusader, is throwing a Judgment. But you need to use them a lot, because that's the point. They come back up sooner. But you might just want to save them for a couple seconds until the damage actually happens. So it completely changes the approach to Judgment and Crusader Strike during and Hammer of Wrath during the time that the buff is up. The overall was lower than it would have usually been, for sure. Look at that, it did quite some healing actually. A lot of it was to the tank, of course, and then it falls from that. When it comes to damage, it obviously doesn't show, but you can take 30% away from the damage of Judgment and Crusader Strike and melee, and then you would have the damage that you would have usually been doing. If we calculate that real quick, that would have been... You got 753.9k damage from Avenging Crusader. 753.9. Which is respectable, for sure. But the amount of damage we lost on Consecration was huge. I don't think they're that incompatible, like playing Necrolord and Kyrian, or rather Necrolord and Avenging Crusader together. It's just the way that I approach thinking about Vanquisher's Hammer really conflicted with Avenging Crusader itself. It really made me look away from... Like, I had to force myself to look away from Vanquisher's Hammer. Things like Vanquisher's Hammer and things like Vanguard's Momentum. Now, I do think that Vanguard's Momentum probably doesn't... It's not the play. Like, I don't think it's the play if you're not playing normal wings. Mad Paragon, you're gonna be buffing up the duration of Avenging Crusader as well. So that's gonna be that. You also just... It just feels weird popping wings, and during the window of using wings, you're gonna be discouraged from using so many Hammers of Wrath, so... A lot of them are gonna be wasted since you're gonna be looking for Judgments and Crusader Strikes. But maybe it's not that busy if I didn't have the thing about thinking about Vanquisher's Hammer so much. Maybe I would have had a lot more time to think about Hammer of Wrath. It's just a lot of maybes. I think it's like... It's a thing that I've played twice in the entire expansion. Actually played twice for like in 4 years. Like 2 dungeons. So yeah, definitely need a lot more practice with it. But I still overall don't think it's the play. Now, I don't think there's any question that this is not a good talent. You're giving up so much. Now, how to make it work best? I just don't know what would be better. If sticking with Necro or playing Kyrian. I think Kyrian is just like... I think the way I approached it was way more simple. So I think it played better than if I was playing Necro, but that might just be the way that I play Necro, or the way I think about Necro. Didn't even load this. 27 streets, so let's go. But yeah, probably if you didn't think about Necro the same way that I do, it could go either way. You could play Kyrian or Necro and probably be fine. You just really have to focus on using Avenging Crusader and playing to its strength while it's up. Probably still playing Seraphim because I think it lines up pretty well, but then the idea of Seraphim was also in this case to like line it up with Divine Toll, so you would get the double deep onto that. Could go either way as well with Vanquisher's Hammer, also buffing the Vanquisher's Hammers outside of the window of Avenging Crusader. So yeah, I think it could work decently well together with playing Kyrian or Necrolord.